All right, before we say anything, I wanted to first start this off with an all-time radio rant from Don LaGreca. Jason, play the clip.
Playing it right now.
So we're trying to get to the quote here. Why would a lion concern himself with the option of, why would a lion concern himself with the opinion of a sheep? He added. The person that's commenting on my performance, what does he do? Flip hot dogs and hamburgers somewhere? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'd cut his ass. I would. How dare you? How dare you? These people pay your salary. They pay an obnoxious amount of money to park, an obnoxious amount of money for PSLs to sit there and watch this pap, and you call them hamburger flippers? What, you're so much better? I'd rather have a guy that's flipping hamburgers block than your piece of garbage ass. Who the hell are you to talk to fans like that? You piece of garbage. I hate when players do that. You're not above us. What, because you happen to play a sport? You make them, you're better than me? You're better than the people that pay your salary? These Giant fans were here before you, and they'll be here after your sorry ass is cut.
All right, good.
What a piece.
That's great. I must be living under a rock because I did not hear that.
Vindicates you when we say, yeah, we lost to the Habs. We whatever. We pay your salaries. We'll be here. We were here before you, and we'll be here long after your sorry ass was cut.
CC, the former general manager, on that. How about that one? How about that one? Oh my God. I don't know how I missed that. That was hilarious. So that is a funny.
I've watched it 15 times. It's so good. It's so good. All right. Welcome everyone to the Rink Rat Report podcast, a podcast where we talk about the Leafs. As always, joined by Jason.
Yes. How's it going? We, as in we talk about the Leafs, and we, as in our team, is the Leafs, and we are a part of that team, the Leafs. That's why it is we and us, not they and them. It's we and us. So,
and as you can see from behind me, we pay their salaries. So.
You do pay their salaries. You also pay the new Miss M&M salary as well. People on video will get that. But anyway,
I don't even remember what's underneath that.
It's been a busy week in Leafs Nation this past. It actually hasn't been that busy this past week. Couple cuts, couple signings, trade. You want to just jump right into it?
So it's actually funny. Like a lot has happened without actually much like substance happening to the roster, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Sam Lafferty's game, right? Just a lot happening, but not a lot actually happening in terms of results.
It's just a neutral. It's just net neutral. Like nothing big, nothing bad, nothing
negative,
crazy.
Positive, negative, positive, negative, positive.
Just playing ping
resulting
pong.
in nothing. But
so if you've been living under a rock like me this past week and you missed that Evan Neal clip, you might have also missed the Sam Lafferty got traded to the Vancouver Canucks for a 5th round pick. So that's what we're talking about here right now. And I mean, it's hard to have really any thoughts on this. I mean, we acquired him in that trade to last trade deadline, in the Jake McCabe trade. Any like thoughts about this at all? Is it just like kind of
Yeah,
like, what are your thoughts?
I have some thoughts. I thought he had a pretty good preseason. He didn't like in terms of results. He was noticeable and all that. Like he scored a nice goal against Detroit too. Definitely did chip in here and there. I think he had more than a couple points this preseason, but that's not what matters because preseason, you can get a point. Remember, Zach Aston-Reese had multiple points last preseason.
Yeah.
And one of them came from the half ball. So who cares?
Because they were all on TSN though. But
it's a good call. November 17th against Detroit. I wonder if he's going to be playing. But essentially what I'm saying is like he didn't show any improvement on certain things. Like he's a really fast player, but you can't really rely on him to be a puck carrier. He's just more of a chaser. And by chaser, he's like he is really a golden retriever chasing shit out there. And a lot of times it's not in the smartest or most efficient fashion. I remember in our group chat, we actually had a video. Someone was breaking down there showing Norlinder on Montreal. They're like, oh, what a great play. He's a smaller player. He completely neutralizes the Leafs player in this clip, and the Leafs player being Sam Lafferty. And when you watch the clip, Sam Lafferty has the front post, like Tavares has the puck along the half wall, entering the zone. Sam Lafferty is like has the front post wide open. He opts to go to the back post for like a backdoor pass, but this guy doesn't have his stick on the ice. This guy's playing lacrosse. His stick does not touch the ice in this route that he's running here. And as a result, the Montreal defense was easily able to tie him up. It was just the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But that's Sam Lafferty for you. Dumb play, faster than everyone else, so he gets the puck. Another dumb play, faster than everyone else, able to kind of neutralize it. Like, I don't know. He was like the road runner out there.
He was like the Roadrunner, but I think the Roadrunner had a little bit more purpose than him, though.
Sorry, Tasmanian Devil.
Tasmanian Devil. That's perfect. That's perfect. I like that. But yeah, I mean, just going off of that, you put it perfectly. I don't really see much of personally. I don't see much to make of a move like this. I just want to refresh everyone. We did the trade to acquire him. We got Jake McCabe at 50% retained. We have for one or 2 more years after this. 2 more years after this. So this year and next year, we gave up a first, second, Joey Anderson, who's like a bottom 6 player. I don't know if he's an NHL player. And then Pavel Gogolev. Like, we didn't really give up much for him. Getting that 5th round pick back, we basically just we turned that trade into Jake McCabe and 3 5th round picks, which it's not bad. So I mean, I think it's a good move, and I think it's the only thing that's big for me about the trade is that it signals to me, and I think we've been talking about this a lot all offseason. I think people are probably going to get exhausted by me talking about it at this point, but I want to hammer it home. It feels like a culture shift in, maybe I'm wrong, but in just promoting.
Maybe he was a Dubas guy.
Yeah, maybe he was a Dubas guy, or maybe it's just like, hey, you're Sam Lafferty. We know what you are, right? But we have a bunch of young players who could potentially be worse than you, but they could also be better than you. So we're willing to roll the dice on these a couple of young players and let them play instead of have you filling that roster hole. Now, is that the case for this deal? Probably not. It's probably more of a cap move in totality here. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like that is probably one of the major reasons as to why he got traded here.
So that's a great point. And if you look back at game 1 against the Lightning, who sat and who played? Nye sat, Sam Lafferty played. So that's a good point there. Another point to be made here is that the Leafs signed Noah Gregor for $775, so league minimum. Sam Lafferty was making 1.15. So I think they looked at it as in they're kind of similar-ish players, speed, depth, not the greatest amount of scoring ability. We're going to be saving a little bit of cap here. We're right up against the cap. So,
yeah, it's just
dollars and cents.
Exactly, trimming around the edges here. Yeah. But yeah, I think the theme of this offseason, though, maybe it doesn't have to do with this trade, but I think for sure the theme of this offseason was culture shift, promoting from within, getting to see those young guys play. And that brings me to our next topic that we're going to talk about here. And that's just the rosters. 99% locked in. Is it 100% locked? It's 99% locked in, right? I mean, no more changes are coming, right?
No more changes are coming.
Okay,
Bobby McMann got put on waivers today. Easton Cowan got sent back to London. So he's going to be playing in the OHL this year. So Fraser Minton is still with the team. So he's not eligible to be sent to the AHL. He would have to be sent to the WHL. But the one key thing that I recognize, and I saw somewhere, it might have been David Alter or Mark Masters that said it. They said that if they end up having to send Fraser Minton back to the WHL, they're going to put Nylander at 3C. And I don't love that. Nylander's a guy that hasn't played that much center. He played 1 or 2 games in the preseason. Yeah, maybe he is a center, but why isn't he playing any center? Why is he not getting any reps at center? So we're going to go with an experiment of a 19-year-old at center for 8-9 games, maybe even less. And then we got to switch to another experiment of Nylander at center for 10 more games to see if that works with the line mates that we're giving him. So that's a quarter of the season that we're experimenting with here. I'm not sure I really like that. And on the Fraser Minton note, on the young guys note, I love Matthew Nyes getting a chance with him. I love that we're giving Fraser Minton a chance. I do think in the end he ends up back in junior. I think he's not quick enough yet, but he's still young. He's still a babyface assassin. You could still add some, man strength to that frame and get those feet moving a little quicker.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I was shocked that Minton's still on the roster right now. I'm not going to lie. I definitely am shocked. I'm pretty sure literally last episode I said, hey, he's going to probably get sent back down, and he didn't. And I mean, just to quickly continue with the Fraser Minton at sea here. I mean, every day goes by. He's on the roster right now. Is he going to stay there? I don't know. But like every day that goes by makes me think he might be staying there more and more and more and more. And I'm like, I love that they have him flanked with Matthew Nyes. I think that's a great pairing.
And Calle Yarncroc, they gave him some good line mates. They're giving him a good chance. So it's nice to see in terms of philosophy that we're giving a young guy a good chance, a good look, like a serious look. We're not giving him Abe Kubel and Zach Aston Reese. So
yeah. Yeah. And then just to go off from there as well, you mentioned Nylander at sea. I mean, listen, if this is the 9-game experiment and then we're just going to go Nylander to sea at sea for majority of the time, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't know. I know you don't feel the same way, but I think
we'll give it some runway. I think Nylander at center is a better option than Fraser Minton at center. I'll go on the record saying that.
Fair enough. And I don't think that's that egregious of a call there either. So like, I don't know. I'm just honestly just genuinely shocked Minton is on this team here, but like, are we getting like, this is crazy. This is going to be crazy here. But I'm kind of getting like a little bit of, it's not going to happen, but like, what if, right? There's like maybe a 5 to 10% chance of this happening. What if if Minton's good, he sticks with the team, and this this third line ends up being like that Florida line from like, was it 2 years ago, where Mason Marchment played with Anton Lundell and they absolutely tore it up against lesser competition because listen, they were not that they were fringe top 6 players at the time that could play in teams' top 6s, but they were playing such poor competition and they were dominating their expected goal share. Like, could we potentially see that in Minton and Nyes as a pairing, comparing that to Anton Lundell and Mason Marchment here? I forget who the third guy on that wing was for them. It might have been like
Duclair.
Maybe it was Duclair.
Maybe not. Though.
But am I crazy? Am I crazy for like drawing those comparisons, or do you think?
So no, not at all. I think that's genuinely a great, like, it's a stretch in terms of like Mason Marchment had 47 points in 53 games. Like,
yeah.
I do see the logic there though, and I do like the thinking behind it for sure. My one issue is like Anton Lundell was a 15th, 12th or 15th overall pick. You know, he's a little more highly touted than what Fraser Minton is.
Yeah.
Way more pedigree than Minton. My issue also is when you dig a layer deeper, who's getting the tough matchups for the Leafs? Like, when you look at it, like, are you giving tough matchups to Tavares, Domi, Nylander? No, not a chance. So then is it going to Matthews then? It's like, oh, okay. It can't go to Kampf. Kampf has Gregor and Ryan Reeves on his line. That's not really a shutdown line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just going to be rolling lines kind of thing. The first games against Montreal, if it's a disaster there, oh boy. The second games against Minnesota, they're a better team, I would say. And then third game is against Chicago, who I don't know if it was a testament to, I was watching a little bit. I don't know if it was a testament to Chicago or a testament to what Pittsburgh's got going on there, but it was a very, very close game.
Yeah. And I don't want to like have a talk about them, but just one quick thing on that Pittsburgh-Chicago game. Either Chicago is a lot better than we expected based on their roster, or Pittsburgh's a lot worse. Don't want to overreact to one game, but I think it's the latter, not the former. So just quickly, line combinations, just looking at who Mason Marchment played with in that 21-22 year. He played, okay, that's a part that I'm missing from my brain. That's probably important. The third winger was Sam Reinhart. So like, that's a big difference from Calle Yarncroc. So, but like, maybe not, but like also at the same time, like
he didn't have a very good 5-on-5 year last year, but
but
Calle Yarncroc, Sam Reinhart, who are you taking?
Exactly. But who knows? Hey, maybe we find like an upgrade forward. I don't know. Maybe we upgrade a forward on the roster midseason. If Minton 6, who knows? Anyways, that's pretty much it here with the Minton stuff. Shocked that he's here. Excited for it. Can they be like that Florida line? Probably not. But let's give it. I'd say there's like a 10% chance that line maybe not produces the same amount of points, but can have like a 55, 58 expected goal share if they're playing lesser competition. But again, we'll have to see how they roll lines here against the Montreal Canadiens on opening night, which is tomorrow. So before we get into our next topic here, actually, no, we already talked about this. Noah Gregor signed. Not really much to say here, but
Noah
minimum.
signed.
Yeah,
like fourth liner, some speed, not much offensive generation, especially relative to what he did in the preseason. I'll tell you that for free. But what I do want to tell you about is that we're brought to you today by Manscaped, who has taken a step up from Balloween to bring your face the cleanest shave it's ever seen. So this season, no need to toil and trouble. Manscaped's all-new Handyman is the best way to get rid of that stubble. Featuring a compact design and next-gen skin-safe technology, the Handyman was designed to give you that smooth finish without the mess of a traditional shave. Get the sweetest treat this Halloween by going to manscaped.com and using code RINKRAT, that is RINKRAT, for 20% off plus free shipping. We love Manscaped's products. We're excited to continue our partnership with them. Guys, this Halloween or Balloween, keep your shit clean. Manscaped.com, 20% off, RINKRAT.
Yeah, and it's funny that you did that because I was gonna do the ad read there quickly, but I'm like, I didn't bring it pulled up on my computer, so I'm like, quickly Noah Gregor, throw to you so I can. But like,
it felt like an ad read type of
that's
section right there.
That's what I was trying to throw for, and I'm like, I don't know where I put the script on my my computer. I'm like frantically looking around. Anyways, it's all good. Last thing we want to touch on here,
though, when you have to during the episode, you have to look for something.
It's the worst. From the ad read,
computer never works. Computer never works when you need to.
Yeah, and then me trying to frantically look up line mates from 2021, 2022 for Mason Marchman. Now I sound like a fool because they freaking played with. Dude, they played. What was it? It looks like it was 50% of their minutes at even strength, or no, that's their points. Yeah, 50%. Yeah, just played a lot. Just played a lot with Sam Reinhart.
So it was a good line.
It was a great line. I forgot it was Sam Reinhart. Why did no one ever talk about that when they talked about Mason Marchman? It was like, hey, he's dominating expected goals, but he's also playing with Sam Reinhart against third lines. Like, where was that conversation? Anyways,
that's true.
Enough of that. Quickly, let's just. Oh, we already touched on McMann, but we did everything here with it. What am I saying?
McMahon's on waivers, unfortunately. We're a big Bobby McMann podcast, so we're pulling for him to clear waivers. Hopefully, Kyle Dubas, after this monstrosity from his depth players, doesn't go McMann hunting, and we get to keep him and see him later in the season. But yeah, I did want to we're going to rattle off essentially what the lines are going to be tomorrow. I did want to read off what the lines were in the playoffs in what year is this? 18? Gardner's on this team, so 2018, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Game 1 versus Boston. Hyman, Tavares, Marner, Janssen, Matthews, Kapanen, Marlowe, Kadri, Nylander, Moore, Gauthier, Brown. And then when Kadri got suspended, they moved Nylander to center, and they put Tyler Ennis on Matthews' wing.
Honestly,
Babcock hated giving Matthews good line mates. He gave him Nylander for a while, and then this season, 17-18, he gave him some brutal. I don't have the numbers up in front of me in terms of who his line mates were most commonly, but oh my God, Janssen, Matthews, Kapanen.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's also just been the theme of our core four for like the last five, not even 5 years, like since they've kind of joined. It's like it feels like we haven't we've talked about this so much, but they haven't had guys on their wings to support them, like good enough guys. It's just it was just never
Oh
there.
yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
other
yeah.
than like Michael
Well,
Bunting is the best, right? But like listen,
Bunting, they had Hyman that one season they
Hyman,
played.
yeah, Hyman. You know what? You're right. Hyman was good.
But
Sorry,
Hyman
maybe
was in and out. And
yeah,
then
and
remember
also
they put Thornton?
yeah, that was crazy. And that was the year Hyman was actually nasty for us. Like that was his
he was
peak. That
great.
was almost his peak year
And
for
then they
us.
went
at
back to
least.
Hyman in the playoffs. It didn't really work, but he was
Yeah.
injured. So give him the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah,
Yeah,
Tyler Ennis was on Matthews' wing in the playoffs. How crazy.
It's
is that to
crazy.
think?
And we almost won that series too, if I'm remembering correctly, right? Like we
went
we
to
not
game
win
7.
game 6 that series?
17-18, I think they had to come from behind, and then game 7 they were winning, and it was the Jake Gardner, Frederick Anderson disaster class. The next season they were up 3-2.
And then they just couldn't score in that game 7.
And then game 7 was just garbage.
Yeah, I don't need to
Anyways, just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to think about, but also like this was also a thing going around on Twitter, courtesy of you though, just comparing last year's roster to this year's roster at the start of the season. And like people are like, you did a poll on the Instagram, and it was like legit 99% of the people who's the 1%, but like
There's one guy.
99% of the people, like basically everyone who voted on that poll thought that our team is better than last year. And I think the biggest thing that people aren't realizing here is because, hey, we're not spending $5 million on a goalie at the start of the season who's only going to play 20 games for us. Like that is massive. And like no one's mentioned that. It's like, hey, do we just forget that we started the season with Matt Murray last year, and I'm going to victory lap this. We roasted the shit out of that call right there, and we knew it was going to be bad. And like, what a shocker. You go from having a guy like Matt Murray, and instead you bring in a guy like Tyler Bertuzzi. That's almost the exact same amount of cap dollars. I think give or take $600K. So it's like, oh shit, we're better. We're better. And I'm happy that we're better, by the way. But I just wanted to victory lap that one thing there. Sorry, you wanted to speak?
You're spending less on 2 goalies this year than you did on Matt Murray last year. So there you go.
It's exactly. Someone brought up a good point, football thing, but like goalies should be like running backs. You just kind of get in as many as you can, and like there's very few that are worth paying in the league, and then you just kind of just throw your darts and hope that they stick.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
yeah. It's weird. There's no to me there's no rule on because I remember someone tried to tell me, yeah, you just sign goalies from college. When does that ever work? What
they
free agent college goaltenders?
Canadian colleges. And
honestly, more
Logan Thompson.
Yeah, Logan Thompson. Zach Sawchenko too. I don't think he's really gonna, but he has an NHL contract. Yeah. I don't think any college free agents, like I can't think of any that ended up. Alex Lyon, that's it.
Yeah,
I might be thinking.
We got to bring Ben back on to give us a little more clarity with the goalie stuff. But
he's an encyclopedia.
Anyways,
let's get into the lines. What the lines are? It's first line Bertuzzi, Matthews, Marner. Second line is going to be Domi, John Tavares, William Nylander. William Nylander obviously on the wing. Third line is going to be Matthew Nyes, Fraser Minton, Calle Yarncroc. Fourth line, Calle Yarncroc, by the way, he beat the trade allegations. Unfortunately, Sam Lafferty did not. I think when you look at it, actually, though, Yarncroc made 2.1. Lafferty made 1.15. And who got injured in between those trade rumors?
Connor Timmins.
Connor Timmins at 1.1. So that's very funny to me. And then our fourth line is Noah Gregor, David Kampf, and Ryan Reeves. And then on defense, it's Jake McCabe, John Klingberg, Brody, Riley, Giordano, Logren.
I love
starting
that.
In that's probably Samson.
So a lot of people are kind of making I don't want to say making a stink about Liljegren playing on the third pairing. Am I the only one who's like, yo, Klingberg's actually been like a legit top 4 NHL defenseman? Why are we making that big of a deal about it? Like, or you feel the opposite?
I can see where they're coming from. Definitely.
Okay, fair.
I mean, it's just I don't know what Klingberg's going to look like. It's so up and down. Like he's going to have those Jake Gardner games. You remember that game where they booed him because he kept turning the
Gardner?
Yeah, in his last year against Colorado, I believe it was. I think it was
I remember.
I think it was against Colorado. The
crazy.
home crowd booed Jake Gardiner. So he's going to have some of those games, but then he's going to, snap it around on the power play and score some nasty goals and make some nasty plays. But
yeah,
that's just John Klingberg.
I'll say one thing. If you were a guy who was pro Gardner when he was on the Leafs, you should be a guy who's pro Klingberg. Just because he's new, he's a new face, doesn't mean you don't have to be pro Klingberg. Like if you were pro Gardner, they're going to be they're similar players. It's a great comp right there. And I think Klingberg probably has a higher ceiling too. But
yeah,
he's played at a higher
Gardner, I
ceiling.
would say, is probably a little better defensively.
Is that even possible though? Like how?
Wow,
oh God, we're gonna have to wait and see tomorrow.
Yeah, Klingberg's a fun one to watch. I'll tell you that for free. But anyways, so yeah, I think you could have if Nylander, wrong Swede. Liljegren was in the top 4. I wouldn't have been surprised at all. I mean, Klingberg he's a wild card. You don't know what to expect from him. Like top 4 competition, how does he play there? I don't know. We'll see. Like we've seen him play in Minnesota. He played well last year, but again, it was a lot of ups and a lot of downs. So get ready for that. Does it fit well? Does it mesh well with the playing style of the Leafs? Is he going to, get the wrong matchups out there and the wrong teammates out there? What's it going to look like? So I don't know. Again, we saw one preseason game of Klingberg, and what does that really tell you? Not much. So we'll see how it looks in the regular season. It's an easy switch.
Yeah, and listen, I'm gonna need like a 3-game minimum sample size before I even make any opinions on these guys. So
TJ Brody's second game as a Leaf, I think it was. His first 2 people were not happy with him.
Crazy.
How's he been since?
Very, very good.
Someone said TJ stands for total junk.
Oh my God, that's such a bad freaking chirp. Get out of here with that.
It's okay.
That's
that Leaf soak guy. I don't know. But anyways.
All right. Anything else you want to do with regards to this roster, or anything else you want to talk about?
Still don't see where Ryan Reeves fits in with our shutdown center, but we'll see. Again,
you'll be surprised how
wait and see.
Listen, that line is going to be like the cleanliness line. We'll keep everything clean, right? We'll keep it clean in our defensive zone. You'll be surprised how much piss and vinegar can clean stuff. That was a stretch. That was a bit of a stretch. Anyways,
it's a massive stretch.
We'll move on from Samsonov starting tomorrow, correct? That's confirmed.
Probably. I would be very surprised if he's not.
Yeah, I don't see it confirmed anywhere. Just going to operate under the assumption.
It hasn't been announced. It'll probably be announced tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. Because he's been good for us last year. Excited to see him play for us this year, and I think All right, let's move on from there. Anything else you want to touch on?
Let's get into some over-unders for Leafs players in terms of points and goals this season, shall we?
Yes, let's do that. And I just want to quickly preface that these are courtesy of The Athletic. We used Dom and Shayna's fancy little fantasy projection chart here. They've projected out basically point totals, goals, assists, and even games played for some guys. So we're going to be basing our point totals on that. And I guess these are going to be I guess instead of over under, we should call it too high or too low. Maybe I think that's a better way to do it, because I mean, some of these, it feels like going through them are at the upper end of the extremity. But if you're looking for point totals and over unders, you should definitely check out DraftKings because the NFL season is around the corner. No, it's not around the corner. It started. It's going strong. And DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking up new customers with an even stronger offer. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings is not stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener every game day this October. I mean, DraftKings has a ton of odds available, ton of exotic markets for the NFL And they have a ton of exotic markets for the NHL. So if you're looking to bet on the NHL, and if you're looking to bet point totals, today will probably be your last day to do so when you're listening to this. So if you're listening to this on the day this is released, but yeah, make sure you go check out DraftKings. Check out the exotic markets they have to offer there. And we're going to be talking about Leafs points totals. So if you want to get in on the action there, that's a good way to do so is over at DraftKings.com. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions. Terms and responsible gaming resources here. So head over to DraftKings. Use code THPN when you sign up. Help support the show.
Bang.
So,
all right.
Let's jump right into it first with our first one here. Start with Austin Matthews. We're not going to go through every single player here. We're going to go through a couple of key players. First one, obviously, is Austin Matthews. Dom has him projected 79 games played, 105 points. Do you feel like that's too high or too low or just right?
Is that would be a new career high, right? His previous career high was 102.
Yeah, I think so.
In his 60-point season, something like that, around there, 100.
60 goal season. No, he had 106 in that 60 goal season.
106, okay.
But he only played 73 games. This is projecting him to miss 2 games here. So, I mean, falling just short of that career high. I think this is, to me, just right. If we're going to do, I think the best way to do this is, we should have discussed this before, but the porridge system, the 3 bears system, right? Too hot, too cold, just right. I think this is just right here for Austin Matthews. His goal total is listed, according to Dom here, at 54. So points, 54. 105, goals, 54. What are your thoughts? Too high, too low, just right?
Bertuzzi on the wing now. Just trying to think, like, injuries. I can't project injuries, so why would I even try? Okay, he said
just assume he plays 7. Yeah, 2 games missed. Just assume
he said 2 games missed. I could see that for sure. I think 50s. He should hit 50s. He's getting paid like he should be hitting 50s now, so he better be hitting 50. So yeah, I'll 106 sounds 106. You said
105.
105 sounds like about right. If we were going over under. Not gonna. I know this is a Leaf show. I'd probably take the under, but I think above 95.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think, like, I'm gonna pull up the DraftKings betting odds right here because I didn't. I should have done this beforehand. But I mean, for me, like, I'm just gonna go on a limb, and obviously, again, you said we're a Leaf show. I think he could hit the over, and I think he can creep into the 110 territory simply off the fact of this line. If Bertuzzi is healthy for the entire year, his playmaking ability has been very, I feel like it's not underrated anymore, because I feel like when everyone talks about Tyler Bertuzzi, the first thing they say is his playmaking ability is underrated, because he can play make with the puck, right? He's a smart player on the puck here. So I think that, like, we got now 2 guys who can feed Austin Matthews the puck. I think this is, like, going to be the best iteration we've ever seen of this line here. I think this is going to be the best line put together in Leafs history. So just for that, I don't know if he'll rival McDavid's point totals, his banana point totals, but I think that this line will be the best line in the NHL, and I think he'll go a little bit over, if not just right at the 105 right here. Okay. And I think he gets to 58 goals. Maybe not 60, but I think he gets to 58 goals. So the goal total a little lower, so it's a little easier to be bold on that in particular. But yeah, that's what I'm going with here. I'm just quickly trying to see if I can pull
I think
up.
105 is just
What?
right. I'll go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair
I
here.
think it's a just right number. You better
So-
hit that number.
Interestingly enough, DraftKings here has the over under 96.5, heavily juiced, -115 both sides. I mean, you don't.
Minus 115.
Yeah,
Like
like,
96 and a half.
Yeah, but the only reason why I wouldn't take the over here is if you're ever betting on player totals, you just kind of never want to take overs in general because you never know an injury can always derail the over and like kill it almost.
So what, you just do unders and you prey on injuries?
No, you don't. No, that's not what I do. I find if I like the under, I'll take the under. If I would have to really like the over to take the over. That's the thought process here.
Yeah, that's just a terrible line. I love the over.
Yeah,
it's just a terrible line.
Yeah, I wouldn't stake real dollars on that. Just based on injuries.
Same.
And
no.
Let's move on here to Mitch Marner.
Do you think, in terms of sorry to go into advanced stats, do you think the medium danger goal totals jumps back to what it was before? Because you remember we outlined it. High danger was the same. Low danger was the same. It was the medium danger goals at 5-on-5 that really killed them. Do you think it goes back to normal?
Maybe, and I'm wondering.
It has to fit your total here.
It would, and I think it does, and I wonder if it's like pre-shot movement from Todd Bertuzzi creating, like, setting him up maybe on a couple. But yeah, am I good? Am I back? Yeah, he's been on the internet late. Move on here to Mitch Marner at 101 points, 33 goals. I mean, just right, too hot, too cold. What do you think? Too high, too low?
So that would be a career high for him. He's never been over 99 points. And if you look at his numbers last year compared to the year before, I think the year before he had 97 or something like that, but it was heavily, the power play helped him up there too. Or helped him up last year versus the year before. His 5-on-5 numbers did drop last year a tad. I do think 102 is possible. I do think that, is it just right? If he sticks with Austin Matthews, I feel like he could beat it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like if the power play continues to hum, I'll go over. I mean, these numbers sound about right.
Yeah, they're in general like very high. Like, for context here, again, we're gonna reference DraftKings. DraftKings actually has a higher point total on Marner than Matthews. Ooh. I think it's oddly enough, it's lined at 99.5, and I wonder if that's probably just pricing in. Austin Matthews has missed like 5 to 10 games over the last 5 seasons, right, per year. So it's like they're just baking that
at 99.5.
Yeah, Marner's right at 99.5, and like actually, like,
what's the
it's
the number?
115 both sides. Like, these are going to be heavily juiced no matter what. So you might want to shop around, but if you don't have a DraftKings account, you want to open up multiple sports books. So make sure you use code THPN when you do that. Anyways, Mitch Marner for me, 101 points. That feels like, I think he would, just based off of my Matthews theory, I think he goes over that too. And I think he gets, again, 33 goals is about right. It's kind of weird that we talk about Mitch Marner as a 30 goal scorer, but he's a 30 goal scorer, and he could, like, I mean, again, same thing with, I think Bertuzzi's passing in these projections. I don't know how you would even bake that in. I don't know if they're being baked in correctly though. And I think the on ice product we see of this line legitimately they'll outmatch what we see in that Dallas line. I think that, again, like I said, this is going to be the best line in hockey. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being Leaf fan-y when I say that. I genuinely think this is the best line in hockey. But we'll have to see when the season starts. So for me, just right, leaning towards should be higher. So depending on fair enough.
Just right. Yeah, I think he surpasses 100 this year.
Yeah,
I
hope so, because, like, I just feel bad for him because, like, I mean, his points per game on an 82 game season is over 100, but it just has not played those last like 3 games, and it's cut them a bit. So sticking with this line here, though, Bertuzzi, I'm going to just throw him out there. Dom's projection here has him at 50 points, but it's important to note that his projection also has him at 68 games played. So missing about 12, 14-ish games. And that's like a median, right? He could miss a lot more, can miss a lot less too, right? But yeah, so excuse me, not 50 points. He has 49 points. Not that it makes that much of a difference here. And he has 20 goals. So is that too high, too low? Just right.
I think that's low. It's so tough to project health. That's the thing. Like, who am I to project health of a player? I don't know. So, yeah, I would say, I think last year he got bad luck when it comes to health. I really think the issue is he's not getting first power play. So that you have to take that into.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
And like Tavares has been very healthy the past few years. So how much power play is Tyler Bertuzzi going to see? Not very much at all. So in terms of, but then you got to think Michael Bunting on that first line struggled for like half a season, I would say, was not really on it until a third through the season, something like that, maybe even more. And he ended up with 63 points that year, 82 games played.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not on the power play. So I think 70 is very possible. If he stays healthy, I think 70 is very possible.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy. That's
70,
that's on the higher end, but I'm very high on this line. So are you, evidently.
Yeah, I think he's like, listen, if he plays 68 games and he's on this line for the entire season, I think he's a lock to score 30. And I think 65, 70 points is like what the median should be and not like 50 here. And again, this is like, just obviously this isn't like his opinion. It's just a model, right? So it's just based on inputs from previous seasons. But I mean, we've always had theories that they don't do, they do their best job to isolate player impact, individual player impact, but it's almost impossible to do in a game like hockey. So I think player impact is going to be huge here. And I truly believe this line will be the best in hockey.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it again. I've said it enough times already here. So, I mean,
but also when you look at his past numbers, like, okay, he was awesome in Boston. He was awesome in Boston in the playoffs. He was very good in Boston for the 20 game stretch that he played in the regular season there. But look at the half of the season before that. You have to take that into account, don't you? Look at the last season, he was 62, or not last season, the season before, 21-22. He was 62 and 68. He missed 14 games because the border restrictions, right? The season before that, he played 9 games. Have to take that into account as well, too, right? So that's where the projection is going to be on the lower end, because he's never hit 70 points. 62 in 68, 30 goals in that 68 games, but he had 8 goals last year in 50 games. So that's where the projections can be on the lower end. So that's where you need to, that's where we're just being very optimistic on what we know and what we see.
I already know for a fact, because I just completely throated this line on how good it is. They're going to be shooting like, I'm going to guess. I love this line so much. I'm just stroking it. So I'm going to guess in the first 10 games, this line is going to have an on-ice shooting percentage of like 3%. I already know. And where there's going to be talks, we just know that the variance is going to come into play. And we're going to be like, this line is generating a ton, but they're just not going to get any points because it's just some crazy shooting luck. I just have a weird gut feeling because I just went off on how good it is. But anyways, let's move on from that first line here. Let's get into Nylander and the Tavares and maybe Domi for the full season. We'll see if that happens. But starting with Nylander here, I mean, projected 81 games. He's got 88 points projected by Dom here and 38 goals. I mean, what are your thoughts on 88 points and 38 goals for William Nylander?
This is just such a wait and see, because when you look at in the past, him and Tavares have never had a winger that has really had any sort of offensive upside. I think they put Calle Jarnkrok with them. I don't know. It's just been so hit and miss, but there was so much Alex Kerfoot in there. So now you're replacing with someone with more offensive upside, with more, with speed, but uses it more effectively, I would say, in terms of carrying the puck up the ice, a better passer than what Alex Kerfoot was. So how does that impact it? But then with Nylander's projection, you also have to take into account, okay, what if he gets moved to 3C? Probably played more than Tavares, but now he's in a different spot. It's a different feel. So taking into account, which the model can't, how is it supposed to? Taking into account that Nylander might play a good chunk at center, I think that's going to affect his point total. So I'd be on the lower end of this one simply because of that. If Nylander is playing all season on Tavares' wing with, say, Matthew Nyes guaranteed, then I'd be low on. I'd say, hey, 38 goals is very low. But that's not the case that we have right now. So with all that we know and just throwing in little pieces to, make the total, I think 80 points should be reasonable for him.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable for him. And question to you, I think quickly, just for me here, just right. And maybe leaning slightly towards under, and not by a lot. Maybe he gets 84. Again, it's going to be hard for him. It's like last year he played amazing, right? Like, and it's going to be hard for him to, I think, to replicate that season. I mean, he's done it for 2 years now, 34 goals, 80 points in 21-22, 40 goals, 87 points, 22-23. Might be a little harder for him to replicate that. My only question is, like, can he do this if he's playing on the third line essentially by himself? I don't think he can get to 80, what was it, 88. Maybe he gets to 78. Maybe he flirts with that 88 number, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see because, one, if he's playing 3C, I don't think it's going to limit his usage, but like if he sees like a 1 minute reduction of playing time per game,
that's big.
Which I don't think is like, I don't think they should do, but if that is the case, like how that affect things. And then also, if this team is good and they're leading for a lot of games, is he going to see less playing time when we're ahead? Like the usage here scares me, right? That's the thing. With the first line, we know they're playing 20 minutes, 22 minutes a night, no matter what. William Nylander, I feel like if you were to track a game-to-game usage, the range is a lot wider. So maybe I'm completely overthinking this. 88 feels just right, shading under for me.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, like the possibility of him having to play center and then him moving from Tavares' wing, that's going to rejig a lot of things too. Like then you have to fill in the second line there.
Yeah.
So then who gets moved up? You'd have to call someone up, right? Who would that be?
Because
I actually have no idea right now. And then who moves up from the third line to there's a lot of moving parts just from one player moving. Right.
Yeah, and we've also seen before, like when, like, for example, like, I don't know, like a penalty kill shift, right? We're going to, sometimes to end a period, they'll throw out Nylander, Marner, Matthews. They're not doing that again. They're just going to leave the Bertuzzi. Like, I assume they're just going to leave Bertuzzi out there. I think Bertuzzi is good enough and better than and more trusted probably than Michael Bunting. Maybe they do, but I think Bertuzzi is a lot better than Michael Bunting is. So just like maybe I'm galaxy braining this, but yeah, that's why I'm shading towards the under here. The next one that's kind of shocking, John Tavares sticking with
75.
This line here. Yeah, John Tavares at 75 here. Last year he got 80 points. He hasn't gotten, I mean, we can't really count those COVID seasons because like 56 games, 63 games, but like the last time he got below this point total here of 75, which is what Dom is projecting here, that was back in 2016, 2017, his second last year on the Islanders. So it's been a while since we've seen a John Tavares season where he puts up so few points. But I mean, makes sense with aging curves.
1990 born player. He's going to be 33, I think, or maybe he just turned 33, right? His 5-on-5 production dipped from last year to this. From last season, his 5-on-5 production dipped from the season before that. He had a career year on the power play, I want to say, if not one of his best power play years ever. So, like, how much better is he going to be on the power play? Well, I don't know. I mean, might take a hair off there. If not, maybe you say he's equal from last year to this year. Okay. But his 5-on-5 production is not trending in the right direction. And neither, like, he's going to be 33 now. So that's where, like, we projected last year, like 60 points for him. Remember?
Yeah.
And he shoved it to us because he was awesome on the power play. He was really, really good on the power play. And he really stuffed it to us. Yeah. Because what, he have 80 points, beat us by 20. Yeah. So how suck on that. But yeah, I could see where, you know, going from 80 to 75 is not that unreasonable. It feels.
Yeah, it feels
just rightish, I want to say.
Yeah, I think I'm closing on that just right, just towards the end there. I feel like 70 is all, if you anywhere between 70 to 75 is fair. And it's based off of what you said there. The power play was just humming for him last year. I mean, 39 power play points, 18
second
power
half
play
of the
goals.
season, though, look at that 5-on-5 production. It was putrid.
Yeah, like, listen, you live and die by your 5-on-5 production in the NHL. You're only going to get 2 to max 5 minutes of power play time a game, unless you're the Edmonton Oilers and you get like 30. Then that's a different story. We're not the Edmonton Oilers here, so we're not going to get those power play minutes.
Or if it's in the playoffs, you get 1 minute.
Exactly. So just got to capitalize on it. But yeah, so 37 points at 5-on-5 here for John Tavares. I mean, the power play 30. I can't believe. The craziest thing to me, though, on the power play, he shot the puck 103 times. That's so bananas. That feels so crazy.
Individual expected goals and his shot totals went up like crazy.
That's just odd. Maybe you know what? Maybe we're missing something here, and it's like not going to affect anything. And that's just like the way that they want to run the power play here. But yeah, feels just right for me.
It would be crazy. I mean, Leafs were second in power play last year. I think power play percentage.
Yeah.
Like. And we're just kind of assuming that it's going to stay the same. Like, what if it gets better with Klingberg? I don't know. Like, that'd be nice, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know.
I
guess we're kind of being, you know.
I don't want to say we're being harsh. I think we're just being honest with ourselves because he's what, 32 now.
Yeah, he's going to be 33.
33. He just turned 33. So he's 32, just turned 33. I mean, father time comes for all. I hope John can stay young for as long as possible. He better not be any tomatoes, nothing that gives him inflammation. Text Tom Brady, get to know his diet.
Oh, God.
Anyways, let's stick with this line. I don't know how long this is going to be a line for, but let's go with Max Domi here. 43 points. 15 goals. I think his projection for games is at 80. Rather healthy career for Max Domi in recent memory here. So what are your thoughts on this Max Domi? 43 points and 15 goals.
The 43 points is like he had 59 last year, but he was playing like 20 minutes a game with Chicago. But his numbers with Dallas were still very, very nice. Again, this is another guy. He's not going to be on the power play, so that's really going to impact his numbers. And that's where, like, he had 59 last year. He had 20 goals. I think he had like 4 or 5 empty netters too. So
yeah,
how many empty netters is he going to get this year? How much power plays time is he going to get? Not very much. So that's where 59 feels like too high. But I think 50. We saw Kerfoot get 50 1 year. Why the hell couldn't Max Domi get 50?
Yeah. He's at 43 right now. That Dom projected him at. And I one thing I want to see is like split between time on ice for the second power play for the Leafs and like percentage of goal distribution between first and second power play, because I think that's going to be a factor here when considering this kind of stuff. I have him pegged, if he sticks with his second line, probably to have 30 to 40 even strength points, 40 being incredibly generous. 40 would be like shockingly really, really good with the amount of playing time he's probably going to get here. So this feels, again, just right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go over under here. I think this is the one that I have here as just right, even though I'm generally down. I don't want to say I'm down on this line. I'm just down on this line scoring like at a crazy clip, you know? So
the Domi line?
Yeah, just because I'm worried it's going to get split up, right? And then those points like those
okay.
goals. You're
That
going to
makes
have
sense.
goals split up between those two lines, so it's going to be
Yeah.
more stretched out, I think, between the second and third line than this compact second line that we're getting here.
But I think we saw it in the preseason. If Nylander moves to center, they put Domi on his wing. So
That's true. That's true.
Maybe
and honestly,
they do that again.
If that happens, though, that could also be better for Domi in point, just from pure point production perspective here, because I doubt that a line of Domi and Nylander is going to be seeing that tough of competition. So I mean, when you have Tavares, Domi, and Nylander on one line together, like the other team is going to have to put tougher competition against them. But then if you split them up, you're making that other team make a choice of who do they want. Who's your strongest second defensive line? Do you want them playing against Domi Nylander, or do you want them playing against Tavares and whoever his line mates are here? But that just about wraps up Domi. Let's quickly, last forward we have on the slate here is Matthew Knies.
Ooh.
And this is going to depend on playing time.
It's going to be
of course.
Crazy one.
And
because what the hell are we going to get from him? Like,
I don't know. 37 points, 16 goals is what Dom has here.
Over. Kidding me?
I'm taking the over too. Are you kidding me? 40
Easy.
points, 20 goals with my eyes closed.
No problem.
With my eyes closed. Like,
oh, okay. So I have the Tavares number. So I said that last year, second half, he really fell off in terms of 5-on-5 production. So his last 25 games, at 5-on-5, he had, I just left the page, but I think he had like a point every other game, like 14 points or something like that. One less than Nylander. So I think 13 points in 24 games at 5-on-5 with 5 goals. But with 14 games left in the season at 5-on-5, John Tavares had 0 goals, 5 assists, 3 of them primary.
That's not good.
His last 14 games, he did not score a goal at 5-on-5.
Yeah, that's not good.
That happened. Austin Matthews had 7 in that time.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully he starts the year hot again. And hopefully it's not.
Nylander only had 5 points too. 4 goals, but 5 points.
Yeah, I remember they were tough down the stretch there. So we'll see. I mean, maybe that opens up an opportunity late in the season for Matthew Knies to jump up, earn a promotion, and get his 50th point as a Leaf. But yeah. 37 feels a little low. 16 goals feels a little low. I think
it's tough to predict.
No, honestly, if Pierre Engvall can score like 16 goals for us, and like he pod 20 last year, right? Was it pod 20?
No, I think he was under that. He had 15 the year before. Last year, I think he might have hit 17 total between the Islanders and Leafs.
Okay, yeah, he had 12 in 58 games. Listen, if if Engvall can pot 15 goals in 78 games, I'm not putting it past Matthew Knies to pop 20 in that same amount of time span, playing similar minutes to that. And that's assuming he gets only third line minutes. I could see him getting bumped up into the lineup here. That wraps up our forwards. Quickly on D, there's really only 2 guys we can talk about, and I'm going to lump them both together, starting with Morgan Rielly. And this is kind of the one that's this is the funky one for me, right? So Morgan Rielly's at 55 points right now, according to Dom's model here, 7 goals. And John Klingberg is at 39 points here and 8 goals for Klingberg. So that Rielly 55 points, Klingberg 39 points. I'm gonna
something funny.
Go for it.
NHL.com put forth the worst fantasy projections I've ever seen. They had Mario Ferraro projected at 38 points. So 1 less point than John Klingberg.
That's crazy.
Mario Ferraro I don't think has ever hit 20 points in his career. They had Vlasic at 30 as well. And they had Arbor Jacki at 30. Just a total joke of a project. Like, whoever did that, I'm sorry. Like, just maybe pick something else to do next year. Because that's moronic. Arbor Jacki didn't even make the Montreal Canadiens. And you put him at 30 points. Nonsense.
I feel like what they did was they just I'm not even.
They went through one by one. 30 sounds about it. 30.
He's gonna play a lot of minutes, not as if he had like Mario Ferraro hasn't been playing like
just
26
did some
minutes.
Moronic. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways,
continue. Sorry.
So Samson or Rielly and Klingberg 55 points, 39 points. Quickly, I'm just gonna touch on this. this is wrong. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Klingberg has more points than Morgan Riley this year. And the reason why I see that is because you're going to have to dig deep and take a look at Morgan Riley's 5-on-5 stats. And he's only had 2 seasons in his, what is it now, 10-year career? 10-year career.
His first year was 13-14. So this is going, 10 years.
So he's only had 2 seasons in his 10-year career where at 5-on-5, he put up more than 30 points. Okay. He lost power play 1 to John Klingberg. That's not his fault. Klingberg's just a better power play player. Listen, like Klingberg deserves it, I think, right now. And
they were practicing. I don't know. Like, we'll see.
We if this is under the assumption that Klingberg is the PP1 defenseman here.
Yeah.
But I mean, the 2 seasons where Morgan Riley eclipsed 30 points at 5-on-5, it was that one hot shooting percentage year where he scored 15 goals at 5-on-5. Yeah. He had 43 points. And then it was 2 years ago where he had 7 goals, 29 assists, 36 points. Also kind of rode a hot shooting percentage that year. I mean, only led to 7 points. But I mean, listen, he's never cracked more than 30 assists at 5-on-5. He relies heavily on being on that good power play to put up a lot of points. 55 is a little rich for me. 55 is a little rich. And again, if John Klingberg is playing on the power play here, and John Klingberg is going to be, listen, Riley's going to be playing with Brody for first line minutes, going to have tougher competition here. He's going to need to take on more of a defensive responsibility. And I think he's going to buy into that. And I'm not saying these things because I want to rip on Riley here. I think if you want to be that number 1 defenseman, that's the part that's still missing from his game. We don't really need him to put up, like, if he puts up 30 points compared to 50 points, I'm okay with that. If that means he's sacrificing his offense for a better defensive structure in his game. Klingberg is a different story because that's kind of why we got him. That's that secondary scoring that we're looking for on D here. So that's the only reason why I think, I don't know what the point total is, but Riley under, Klingberg over for me. And I think Klingberg has more points than Riley at the end of the year.
That's interesting. Like, it's, will Riley last not being on power play 1? Will this last where they keep John Klingberg there? That's the $1 million question. And you got to think, at what point, the season after Riley had 20, the Leafs traded for Tyson Barrie. And who was on power play 1 midway through the season? It was Tyson Barrie, because Riley was having a horrific season because he was injured. He was trying to play through injury, and it just was not working at all. But I think this one's truly fascinating and truly is a wait and see. And it's up for debate. I think any way you put it, like, you're going to have a strong case to say, like, oh, Riley over Klingberg. Oh, no, Klingberg over Riley, for whatever sort of reason. I liked your reasonings there in terms of Riley's only had over 35-on-5 assists twice. So who do I think? I do think Klingberg's a better power play defenseman. So I think I'm with you on this one, right? Klingberg over Riley.
I appreciate that you're with me on this. I like that. I thought it was kind of bold. Maybe it's not too bold though. Like, listen, Klingberg has done it before.
Depending on what, like, it's a choose your own adventure. How do you see this playing out? Do you see Riley on power play 1? And do you see them stubbornly keeping him on power play 1? Okay, well then how the hell is Klingberg supposed to beat Riley out? But do you see it? Are they going to switch? Like, XYZ, right? So I chose the same adventure as you, clearly. So
we follow the same.
We ended up with the same lot,
Yeah,
same
I
answer.
I get what you're saying there. And yeah, let us know what you think of all these point totals. You can rewind, drop back, and when you hear them, drop a comment on it if you think, 39 too much for Klingberg, 55 not enough for Riley. Whatever you think, let us know in the comments down below. Last thing to get to here before we head out, let's just talk about the goalies quickly. Not much to go on here for projections. One thing that is interesting is the projection of games played. I don't know how he does this, but I mean, I assume it's just the model spitting out numbers. Dom has Samsonov projected to have 50 games played. Joseph Woll, 24 games played here. Personally, I think we're going to see more of like a 40-30 split. But what are your thoughts on that?
The goaltending battle is definitely real. I don't think they'll start to give into it until, I think they'll really try to, go back and forth, give Samsonov the edge, for a good 2 months here. I really like Joseph Woll. We've said it in past episodes. I really think there is something there. And I mean, look, Samsonov has had one good season in his career.
Mhm.
Like, is it out of this world that he plays to a, below a 9-10-ish, a 9-10 sort of level of play, and Joseph Woll overtakes him? I don't think that's out of this world at all. But I think definitely Samsonov's going to be given the ball to start. And it's just a matter of, do you believe that he's going to take it and run? Like, if he's putting up 920, like, it's going to be pretty tough for Joseph Woll to beat him out. Like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joseph Woll's not perfect. I mean, that game against Detroit, he made plenty of mistakes, but he also looked really good. There was a few things here and there that I really liked, but I mean, some of the goals he could have reacted a little differently on, I'd say. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm much more optimistic about the goaltending this year than last year. I'll tell you that for free. Because bringing in 2 projects and 2 gambles and 2 guys that have had injury, well, Samsonov less so, but a guy that's had major injury issues throughout his career, and saying, these are our 2 guys, we're going to run with them, that was scary as hell. And guess what? Both of them went down like a month into the season. So
yeah. No, you make all great points there. I'm excited to see Joseph Woll get legit chances this season, so it should be fun.
Yeah, he will.
It was frustrating last year, but yeah. So Samsonov 50 over under. What are you thinking? Because I assume if you're over on Samsonov 50, or if you're just around Samsonov 50, you're like the opposite or the same on Justin.
Nah, I'm under.
Under. So then I assume you're obviously over on Joseph Woll by a little bit there too. There's only 2 goalies, so I'll knock on wood. Anyways, I think I'm good. I don't know about you. I'm good. I think that wraps it up here.
That wraps it up. Excited for the season to start Wednesday when you're listening to this, probably. So yeah. Awesome. Thanks everyone for listening.
Goalies go.